What's up?
What's going on, buddy? Are you gonna wear the same hat every time I see you for the end of time?
Actually, last time I wore the AFC Championship hat. Today is just regular Bengals hat.
Regular Bengals hat. Nice.
I might bring it back. You never know.
Well, um, what did you have for lunch today?
Today I had seasoned chicken, roasted orange and yellow peppers, and jasmine rice in a bowl.
How long did you
How
cook
about
the
you?
rice for?
Oh, I didn't cook it. Katie cooked it. It was I don't know, maybe like I don't know, cooked it till it was done. I can tell you that. It was delicious.
I had two corn dogs
Ah,
because I am.
frozen, or did you go out and get them?
I heated them up in the oven. It would have been a little difficult to eat otherwise.
Mm.
So I like to eat cookies frozen. Those can be good, especially ones that are chocolate based.
If I asked were they frozen corn dogs, then that would have been an appropriate response. But I said, did you were they frozen or did you go out and get some? So I provided some extra context, which you would infer that yes, I did think that you ate a cooked hot dog. I just wanted to know this origin of the hot dog
It's a corn dog.
or corn dog. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is
Um,
going to be how the show goes.
Either way, you are wrong and I'm right.
Got it.
That's the way she goes.
Hey, what do you dip in your corn dogs? Like,
I'm
do you
so
use
glad you
ketchup,
asked.
mustard?
Well, my household is currently out of ketchup, which is not that big of a problem. It's okay. Don't be
You're
alarmed.
Ray.
Yeah.
The Rays are never out of ketchup.
Well, I hate to do this to you, but you're wrong because I am out of ketchup. So never, never say never. But I'm also, I like ketchup. I love ketchup. Well, love's a strong word, but it doesn't matter. Today, there's no ketchup with the dogs. What I did have was a little barbecue sauce and a little yellow mustard. Not together. And actually, I didn't alternate bites on the same corn dog. I one corn dog was specifically dipped in barbecue, and the other specifically in the mustard.
What kind of
So
barbecue?
I had like my barbecue experience and I had my mustard experience in that order. And
Okay.
it's Baby Ray's. I'm a lover of all things barbecue, so there is no right or wrong barbecue to have, um,
That's
unless
true.
it's some like you don't dip like a vinegary based barbecue sauce.
No, that's
Delicious, but you just don't dip it, not for
good.
dipping.
Not for dipping.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Um, Transition.
Transition.
You see, Aikman's gonna land a ton of money. The dude's gonna be
Yeah.
this guy who is good at his job. I've got nothing against the dude, but he's securing a bag that is quite large, Santa-esque in terms of size and width. Um, is that
Yeah. To
warranted? Is
do.
that what do you think about that?
I. What's interesting to me. Like, yeah, I agree. I mean, Aikman is not a bad color commentator. He's obviously like the bright spot in the awful Joe Buck experience on Fox. So now who knows who's gonna sit alongside him? But there's nothing about Troy Aikman that makes me want to watch Monday Night Football any more than any other person they have on that show. You know what I mean? Like he's fine, but like you're gonna go out and get someone big like that. You expect them to be like a big draw, and like people are gonna like tune in. Maybe to because of that. Like
I think it's
I
safe
just
to say though, Scotty, that people don't watch sports for the commentator. I mean, if you watch any college basketball game, unless you are a diehard fan, or if it's like a primetime game where they have like Dickie V or somebody that's really like well known, you're probably not even going to know who they are in the first place because you're not watching it for that. I mean, so I guess that would beg the question: why pay that much money anyway? But
right.
but I the amount of money that these networks are paying for the rights to even broadcast the thing, who they have color doing the broadcast is like a drop in the bucket. It's like what he's going to
It's
make
true.
17 million a year or something like that. they're the ESPN. I This is not a hard number, so don't quote me on this, but it's like in the hundreds of millions, and like it's way up there in terms of how much they're paying to even have it. It's like, okay, well, here you go, Aikman. What do you want? Who do you want to work with? I mean, who would you? Okay, Scotty, you have a network and you get to broadcast some whatever, some Sunday football games. Who are you putting in the booth?
Sunday football games.
Oh, does it
I
matter?
think
Does that make a
I,
difference?
I think it does. I really do. I think it does because I
Okay,
think
first before you go into who, tell me what types of personas are best suited for Thursday night versus Sunday night versus Monday night? And do you care if are we only talking the primetime games? And are we only talking the NFL too? Because there's a lot to unpack here.
well, let's just stick it to the NFL. Stick to the NFL, not stick it to the NFL. But to me, there's a difference between the 1 o'clock 4:30 games and the primetime games, and like I want I want I want the best commentators on the primetime games, like I don't know, there's just something about it that it makes it seem more special, more grand to have the best people in the late games, whereas like a 1 o'clock game, I'm not in it for like I'm that's your typical just football game. I want someone with a better voice in the 1 o'clock or 4:30 games where like I don't even know the guy's name, but there's a commentator that does, I think he's up for CBS. He's got this deep voice, and if I played a clip of him talking, you'd know him immediately, and you just recognize him as that like just regular, just 1 p.m. AFC. It's gonna be it's the Titans against the Jaguars. That's the game he's calling today, and it's just you just like listening to it, and it just helps with the experience
I just feel,
versus
yeah, I hear you. I just feel weird about this whole conversation
what.
because, well, we're saying two different things. Like, okay, we want the best people for the prime time, but then you're saying,
Right.
but you're complimenting the people that are not on the prime. So you want good people all around. You just want different types of good.
Yeah, a different style. I
You
want a
want
different
your
style.
not going to add anything in the way of personality with your 1 o'clocks, 4 o'clocks. You just want plain Jane. Just give me the football, baby. Like
I want the
I
radio.
don't
I
want
want
to
the
know
Yeah.
how long it took you to get your taxi from the airport to the state. I don't need to know any of that. I don't need to know what food you ate at 1 o'clock. It's lunchtime. Whatever. I just
I
want to
want the
know. I
radio.
want to know what
I want.
happened in this play, and is this
I want
significant?
the. I want the radio voices for the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games, and I want the superstar commentator,
But why?
hype people.
But why?
Because it's a different part of it's a part of the experience, man. Like you don't start with guns blazing, on at 1 o'clock with your best people. You ease into the football experience of the day. It's 1 o'clock. You're probably coming home from church still. You're making lunch. Like you just want that. You're just getting started with the football that we have to watch the rest of the day. And then in the nighttime, you have that little lull. In between, 6 and 8 o'clock. You have a little lull. You have dinner, and man, all right, let's bring out Al Michaels.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's really ratchet things up here with Collinsworth. Scotty, I know for a fact though. Here's another problem I have with what you're saying is it's not a big problem, but it's like I know for a fact that you watch Red Zone on your
I
Sundays, and
do.
you pull up your
Right.
local team, and you probably mute that shit. And you're just listening to
I
Red
do.
Zone. So what are you even talking about? Why should anybody listen to you about the 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games?
Because in fact, actually, me watching Red Zone makes me the authority on the subject because I actually listen to the announcers of every single game. When Red Zone flips in and out, it's not Scott Hanson narrating the whole thing. You're actually tuning in to each game. So I'm listening. I every single week I get to hear every single announcing crew. I do.
No, no, no. And that's I believe you, and that's a really good point. However, it's red zone, so you're tuning in at the most exciting moments of those games. You're not there for the whole broadcast. Whereas the prime time, which is really I think all we should be talking about, you're actually watching the full thing start to finish. The pregame, a little bit of the post. You're watching the toss it down to the field reporters. You're watching all of it. So like, I don't know that it's maybe you just shouldn't. Maybe I don't know what to do with your 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock opinions. But my main question wasn't between 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock versus prime. It's the differences between the primes, like your Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Is
Mm.
there any difference there? And I mean, it's okay if you don't think there is, because I don't really think it matters.
I
I,
don't think that there's I don't think that there's necessarily a difference. I think that the the duo can make a difference, if that makes sense. Like
okay,
you if you have a good duo, you could really shine, and make like, oh, Monday Night Football, that's the place, because you have Mike Tirico and John Gruden, for example. That's a solid booth, and you're pumped about that. It's a little different.
okay. So tell me, Scotty, knowing that Aikman and Buck might be splitting, Collinsworth might be retiring. Who the hell knows with Al Michaels? I think I heard
His contract's up.
Al Michaels' contract's up. I heard that Amazon might be trying to poach him for Thursday Night Football. You don't have to go down. Just what I kind of want to talk, unless you have each of the prime groupings who you'd prefer. Okay, that's fine.
No.
Tell me. Let's talk about who would we want. We're putting together our dream team. Let's keep it to the people that are living at the moment. Dream team of people that we would want doing the broadcast of any given primetime football game. Can you
That's
work
tough.
within those bounds?
I can. I
Okay,
can.
good.
I really do think that from just a regular announcer standpoint, the narrator role, I think Mike Tirico is the best. I think he's really good. I think he's got a good balance of he's got first off, he's got a great voice. He knows the game well. He narrates it well. He doesn't make it a lot about himself. His enunciation isn't funky, and I know that sounds weird, but like listening to Al Michaels and the way he says some people's names, like it just bothers me sometimes, and especially Joe Buck. I mean, the way Joe Buck's inflection, like it's awful. So Tarico is like he's perfect. He's good. He's not controversial. He enhances the game. He doesn't take away from it. It's really good. Color commentary is a little bit different, and I would say this season changed my opinion a lot because I probably up until the playoffs, I probably would have maybe leaned towards Tony Romo because I used to like his insights and his he would his crazy predictions and his reads on like he was really entertaining for someone who enjoys the next level of the game. You understand coverages and things like that because he talks in that language, and so it's kind of cool to hear him explain that. But man, him in the AFC Championship game, he was so annoying to me. He was so annoying when he was like talking about how the Bengals just need to let the Chiefs score here, and like
Okay,
I know I was done with them.
you're
So I'm
exposed. You just expose yourself. There's no,
no no
there's no, no. Your
he was actually
Bengals, your
he was just
Cincinnati bias.
no.
That's
It wasn't the
absolutely true. You're
Cincinnati bias.
smiling too because I can
No
tell.
no he
I
was
was
he
cutting.
was he was
So I'm going to cut you off one more time. I know this is the case. So I do not. I'm no longer. I mean, I'll listen to it physically, but your Romo critiques carry no weight with me because up until up until the Super Bowl, I had a lot of respect for Al Michaels. I really liked Al Michaels, but then he starts shitting on Cleveland and bloviating about the OBJ situation and Collinsworth was chiming in too and all this shit. I'm like, I liked you. I thought you were on my. I thought my actual team, but I thought we were buddies here. I thought I liked you guys, and now because I know the situation obviously better than they do. They're exposed to me, and who knows what else I've been listening to them say. That's just been horse hockey. You know what I'm saying? So my point is that you should not care about my Al Michaels opinion. Well, maybe you should because it's a little bit more based in whatever. You're just annoyed that you're saying the Bengals should have done different things.
no.
Yeah, whatever.
He was taking he sometimes, and I it's not this is not just my criticism. Other people have criticized him in the past that he sometimes takes away from the game because he just talks too freaking much. He just needs to just chill and let the game transpire. he goes into too like sometimes he just doesn't shut up. Okay, so yeah, I use the Bengals as an example.
So I've noticed two key themes with you, Scotty. In your play-by-play guy, you want a big animated reaction
Yes,
when it's appropriate, and with your
when it's
color
appropriate.
commentary guy, you want them to be supplemental. You want them to
Right.
watch what happened, listen to the play-by-play, and then once the dust settles, now chime in, tell me a little bit. That's what you want.
That's what color commentary is. You know, you're not there to describe every single thing that you're seeing. You're there to just shed a little insight on what the narrator is actually describing. That is the whole role.
I would agree with you completely. That the original deal was you needed someone for a broadcast, especially radio. So I'll start on radio. You need someone to say what's happening, literally just what's happening. And so the color commentary guy is really just bonus. They're really just, they don't have to be here. We don't need you to watch and enjoy the game. But if you want maybe a little bit broader reach, kind of explain a little bit to people that don't know as much, so you can get more people into the fold and try to explain some stuff. Here's what you're actually seeing, or here's why it matters. You got your color commentary guy to kind of pepper things in. I hear you. I hear you.
Exactly.
Okay, so your
Exactly.
dream booth has Tarico in it as the
Rico.
play-by-play.
Yep. And right now, I know he has not had a lot of experience, but I would, as in the color commentator role, I think it would be really cool, and I would be really excited to listen to Drew Brees do the color commentary.
He's
That to
getting his
me
sea
would be
legs. He's getting better.
yeah. I think he'll be good. But that to me is the the solid. I want that on Sunday Night Football on NBC.
But would
That
you
would be my
agree?
dream.
Would you agree that Breeze still needs some more time? I mean, he's only done it 1 year, 1 season. He's still getting there.
Yeah.
But once he gets there, I
Oh,
think you're saying he's a guy
he's
you can
going to be
rally behind.
he's going to be a guy. He could potentially be a guy. I could see him being a Hall of Fame color commentator just as much as he was a Hall of Fame quarterback. The guy's what 40 some. I mean, he could do this for 20 years, and he could be like a staple in a NBC booth or whoever organization he wants to call games for.
Hmm.
I think it'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that.
Well, I've got opinions too, and I'm sticking with Tarico. I mean, that dude, I respect the hell out of him. He can do every single sport. It is
He
really
can.
incredible, and even if he doesn't know the sport, he sounds like he knows the sport. And if he doesn't know the sport and he sounds like he does, that's even more impressive than if he knows all of the sports and sounds like he knows all the sports.
It's
So
true.
so I've got Tarico in there too. And I don't have any strong opinions, and I don't know that there's necessarily the best, but I have got a thing for Louis Riddick. I just think he is really smart. I think he knows the game super well, and he's a pit guy. So I think that
Yeah.
he's always every hiring cycle he's in the discussion about maybe being a GM or a VP of player person. Like the teams want him back in the front office, and he's on in the booth, and he's doing draft day coverage. Like that dude's pretty good too.
Yeah.
And then I like the field reporters. I think Jacina Anderson's really good. I like her a lot, and Aaron Andrews is good too. But I'm going to throw one more out for you, Scotty. And this is probably be a more Monday Night Football vibe because I'm doing like an ESPN grouping. So this wouldn't happen. And I'm not saying this is my like dream team, but you get Mike and Mike in the booth calling games, and you got Stephen A on the field, sideline reporter. How awesome would that be? I'm tuning in for that.
I would tune in for that too. That would be pretty fun.
Could you
Them to be up
imagine?
there.
I don't know if Greeny would be that great of an actual play-by-play guy, but he could figure it out. And Golick
He
is
could figure it out.
awesome. He's got a little bit played out, but I like Golick, and he's a man's man, or not man's man. He's like that fatherly, just a
Yeah.
eat 1,000 donuts in a sitting, dude. And then you toss it down to Stephen A, who's like on the sideline with all the players, like joking around and getting like players would like that. I mean, players would open up and talk
I
to Stephen A.
I would love to have it tossed down to Stephen A on the sideline to see whatever shenanigans he could pull out of the play, because he could totally do
Oh
that.
my gosh, he'd be so he would
That
be
would be
comfortable. The players would be comfortable. That would be awesome.
awesome.
Now
They should do that. What?
I wouldn't want Stephen A in the booth though.
No, no.
I would watch it, but like I don't think that's best suited for his skill set.
Stephen A is good in about 2 minute bursts, and that's about it.
He's also not like a former player. He's not like a coach. The color commentary guy. You want like here's why the coverage broke down, and they were able to break that away. Stephen A is not quite
more of
there.
an expert.
Yeah, he's more,
No.
but he would be great down on the sideline.
He would. That would be pretty cool. I agree.
Any other thoughts on the booth? Aikman. Who do you want to see go with Aikman specifically? It can't be Tirico because he's locked up at NBC.
He is locked up at NBC. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
I just
great. Yeah. I'm glad we have a show.
I don't know. There's no one I can really think of that would be. I mean, who do you think would be good?
Well, McDonough. I thought
no one that just obvious pair.
I thought McDonough did a good job. When Tirico, okay, he's fine. You can't even name anybody, so give me.
No, but like I don't know. I feel like for ESPN, I'd rather listen to the Manning brothers like watch the games than the actual people in the booth. So like I don't know. There's nothing about those folks at ESPN that really draw me to them.
We're not giving Greasy or Steve Levy any respect at all.
No, I'm really not. I'm not big fans.
Who did you just mention?
The Manning brothers.
The Manning brothers. Yeah. I've watched a few of those Manning casts, and I'll tell you that even though they definitely seem like a bit of like an experiment or like a side hobby for the Mannings, like they got other things they could be doing. But if you're an ESPN executive and the Mannings walk into your office, you're probably gonna do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we want to watch the game and just talk about it and maybe have some guests on. Okay, yeah, we'll try that out and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I
think Eli's better than Peyton because Peyton wants to seriously like break down the game, and they have guests on, and they can be good guests, but mostly, I think what would be better, and this kind of takes away from a bit of what they're doing on the Manning cast, but take Peyton and Eli's the video of them on the screen. Just get that off. I don't want to see them because when I'm watching that broadcast, I find myself watching Peyton and Eli more than I'm watching the actual game, and they are not entertaining. If you take them off the screen and just have it audio only, it is great. If you can get yourself to just ignore them on the screen, because they're literally staring at a screen, and you see them reacting. So like Eli's telling a story about something, and Peyton's watching the game, and he's like reacting to what's happening on the field, and it's just like it feels disjointed what's happening visually. But
I agree with that.
They tell some great stories, even when they have guests on. It's really funny, and they both obviously know the game so well. So that's my only criticism of the Manning cast, but they would be great. I just think that I think ESPN would have done anything to get Peyton Manning to just do Monday Night Football the way they wanted it, but he just obviously has no interest in doing that. He has his own studio. No. He just watches the game as it's happening. He doesn't have to travel every week. It's perfect for him.
It's a good gig. Yeah.
All right. Well, we could talk about how LeBron James said the door is open to go back to Cleveland, which I would love to get into, but there's not a lot of teeth there. I'm excited to watch him play with Bronny, but I think we'll cap it at that. Scott, do you have anything else for me, buddy?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, baseball is probably not going to happen.
Oh, wait, Scott, transition. Scotty's MLB lockout update. Give it to me, bud. Things have happened. If you can just give me like a little 2-minute little blurb here.
2-minute. I mean, there are like some like the players and the clubs are conceding not a whole lot, but they're conceding a little bit on a few things without going into the specifics because I can't even remember the specifics off the top of my head. A lot of it has to do with like draft the number of draft picks that would be available. Lottery, like the teams that would be in the potential lottery for tanking. Um, the arbitration years have gone down. The requests have gone down, but they're still not close, and they have to make a deal by Monday, or the regular season games will start to be canceled. And they've been meeting all week long, and they're not getting close. So it's looking like it's pretty imminent that opening day will not be March 31st. It'll be some later date, which is quite upsetting to me.
I like a little June 15th MLB start date. Love that.
It's the worst. I mean, we did that in 2020, and I hated it. So,
well, the problem with 2020 is they've changed the postseason rules. Don't change anything about the postseason. Just have it be the same shit. Just have fewer
they
games.
probably. Well, part of the deal here was to change the postseason rules with the collective bargaining agreement because they want to add in more teams. So that revenue was going to offset some of the things that the players would want. So everyone that's probably going to happen. That playoffs will be expanded.
I like that.
But which I don't hate. It's good. It's good for
you hate it
teams that are right
deep down. You hate it.
I don't hate it.
Deep
down.
No.
I don't hate it. No, I don't.
You're clutching your glove and you're sitting, pulling your hat down over your eyes. You hate it.
No, listen. I don't hate it. I remember the days when back in the mid 2000s where the Phillies were they were good. They were a good team, but they weren't good enough to win the division. And they would lose. They would miss the wild card by 5 games, and then that was it. But they were at a good season. But I know that if you put them in a 3-game series, they could probably have beaten the Mets that year or whatever, and they just didn't have a chance. So now expanded playoffs, that gives some of those teams more of a chance, and that makes teams want to be more competitive throughout the season because if you could squeak in, you never know what happens. You know what I mean? So I think it's good for the sport to have more teams in the baseball playoffs than having what it was back then, where it was literally the 3 division winners and 1 wild card, and that was it. That was atrocious. They've improved it since, and they can improve it even more.
Right now, it's 6 teams in each conference, right?
Yeah.
You got your 4 division winners, and then 2 teams that do a play. Wait.
No, there's 3 division winners, and then there's 3. There's a wild card team, and then there's a play-in game.
Right. So okay, yeah. Give me more teams. I love that. Basketball. It could be set up like basketball. Basketball is nuts. You just got tons.
Basketball is a little ridiculous. Like that. I mean, listen. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it, but it gets to a point where you might as well just not even have a regular season and just have everyone in the playoffs and have some elimination games. You know what I mean? Like you play 80 games and then at the end everyone starts off in the playoffs and you basically do a little March Madness tournament with every. Well, yeah, I mean that's basically what they've done. I know, but I mean it's not a bad thing, but I think that they were messing with something that really wasn't that broken. They already had 8 teams in each. In each conference making the playoffs. That's half the conference. That's already a decent amount, So now they've moved it to 10 out of 16. So it really sucks. It sucks to suck if you're one of the teams that don't make it because that means you're really bad. But I don't know.
Top 2 teams in each baseball division should make it, and then
I agree with that.
And then you have 2 wild card teams play it out.
I think that's close to what that's what's being proposed. I think is that the top 2 in each division make it, and then there's some other type of a smaller wild card subset. But
you have 16 teams total. I mean, that's
that's not bad. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think that's okay. Now I'll hate it if the Phillies win 101 games and then they lose to a team that squeaks into the playoffs like the Cardinals, and then. In the first round of the playoffs.
You got to win. You got to win.
You got to win. You got to win. I know. You got to win. You got to win.
All right. Well.
Hey, I got the AEW tickets, so we're good. April 20th.
Oh my gosh! I forgot to remind you. You got me one, right?
I got you one. Yeah.
Should be
we're sitting together, the 3 of us.
Good. You got me one over there. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to
I want to see
actually be there, though. I,
Jericho.
I would love to see Jericho. I
He
would love to
doesn't.
see
I
Jericho.
don't think he usually fights on the weekdays.
No, he's there though. He doesn't wrestle, but he might come out and do his song and everything. We, we've been watching a lot more AEW, and I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of guys that I'm pumped to see. Like there's,
Number
I
11.
don't know. I'd be cool with number 11, number 10. It's number 10. It's number
Oh, number
10.
10. Number 10.
Number 10.
The X.
Um, yeah, it'd be cool to see MJF and Darby Allin.
MJF is good. He's really
Did you see
good.
his pro? Did you see his
No.
promo on Wednesday? Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's been okay. Have you followed his feud with CM Punk at all?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, you're aware of CM Punk.
Find me
You
a
didn't
YouTube video and
watch.
I'll watch it. Like of the promo, of the recent promo. I know CM
Well,
Punk. I know that he was, I know CM Punk's whole
the
story.
the promo itself, you're not going to get anything out of unless you know the story of their feud. Because last week, not this most recent week, but last week, CM Punk and MJF have been fighting a lot, and there's this picture of when MJF was like, I don't know, he was like 9 years old, and he like met CM Punk, and CM Punk cut this promo last week. He's like, yeah, here's this little picture. You met me. This is the best day of your life, and for me, it was a Friday. And like like it's like and he was like MJF was like messing with CM Punk and stuff, and so CM Punk now challenged him to a dog collar match at the next pay-per-view. So they're going to be chained up wearing dog collars, and it's going to be a super bloody, like, nasty match. Well, MJF comes out and he cuts this promo, and it was brilliant because I mean, I don't. It's not really a spoiler, but he just look it up. You don't have to send it to you. Just Google MJF's promo from 223, and he basically tries to turn face a little bit, but I don't know. It is really good. MJF is fantastic. I love him.
He's really good.
I think
He's good on the mic. He's gonna be
Adam.
the next yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be like he's basically like the Miz. Like, he's the younger version of the Miz, which the Miz is also fantastic too.
He's the Miz in
But
terms of like character, right? Like rich, like thinks he's better than everyone else, like that kind of thing.
yeah,
But it's not.
exactly.
He's
Right.
better on the mic than the Miz. The Miz is just
The Miz
the
is pretty
Miz
good
is
on
good
the
on the
mic
mic.
too.
Yeah, the Miz is good on the mic.
The Miz is good on the mic.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
they're cut from the same cloth, but they have their own nuances, which is fun. But like in AEW, like like
I know you love Orange
Adam Page,
Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy's cool. Adam Page is cool. I like he's been a lot of fun to watch. What they're doing with the tag team championship and Adam Cole, like Adam Cole's been good. The Young Bucks are awesome. Um, there's oh, and Sammy Guevara. I mean, Sam. I don't know if you watch him wrestle.
Yeah, I
That
do.
dude is ridiculous. Like he's. I don't know. I get jazzed every. I get more excited out of AEW than WWE now, which is really sad. It's not good. I watch too much wrestling.
WWE is like it's like a distorted thing. It's not the. I mean, everybody says like it's not the same back in my day, all that bullshit, but it has changed in a lot of ways, and it's hard to latch on to someone in WWE um, because well, I don't know what the reason is, but I just see that everything I see out of the WWE, and I'm like a tangential fan. Like I don't watch everything, but I'm into the big things. Everything I see, it feels like it's been the same for the last 3 or 4 years. Like it's the same
Hmm.
people, the same stories. It's not like interesting or nuanced. Like the only one thing, like I thought the whole Paul Heyman going between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar was interesting, but
Right.
other than that, it's just like I'm the best. No, I'm the best. Like I'm the best. Well, I'm going to beat your ass. Like what? And you see like Seth Rollins trying to do some things, like trying to be a little bit interesting and get involved. But and maybe that's just me. But I know that you don't agree. I mean, we could talk forever on this. But like, I know you
Well,
don't. I know you don't like what they've done with Drew McIntyre. They let him like slip and not let him slip, but like they don't. He's not involved as like he used to, and he could be. And they,
the biggest problem, and I mean, sometimes it's a benefit for the WWE too, but there is a creative team that writes the shows in WWE, and it's obvious, because all the characters kind of sound somewhat similar because they're all scripted, like they might have an individual flares, whatever. But like what's cool about AEW is that and why it's more fun to follow the AEW folks is that it's not scripted. They get booked, like they say, hey, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna cut, but they have more creative control. Each individual wrestler has more creative control, so it allows you to be more invested in them because like it's their ideas, not just like
Yeah.
some writer, and that to me is the key differentiating factor between the two companies. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
Cool.
it's fun.
Justice for Sheamus.
Anyway,
All right.
yeah. See you later, man.
Bye. All right. So if you've listened this far, you must, for some reason, like what you've heard. So, given that, please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at ObsessionCast for all future episode updates and whatever else we might post, sports related or otherwise. Thanks for watching.